Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So we are from Group 4 from Academic Speaking D. So today we will present a study entitled Teacher as Architect of Foundational Knowledge, Educator Capacity and Institutional Support across diverse socioeconomic contexts. So this study discuss how strong educational foundation can support long-term learning outcomes and help create a more equitable education system. So let's start from the background. So education is often considered the foundation of both individual development and societal progress. However, educational foundation consists of several important elements, including early childhood learning, teaching methods, teacher competency, and inclusive access to education. So the problem is that these elements are often addressed separately rather than as one interconnected system. As a result, educational reforms may not produce sustainable improvements. Therefore, the study explored the importance of viewing educational foundation holistically. So this slide shows us a research problem and objective. So this study begins with the observation that many educational policies focus only on one aspect of education at the time. For example, improving curriculum without strengthening teacher training or increasing access without improving instructional quality. The main objective of this research is to examine how a holistic and foundation-centered approach can improve learner outcomes across different socioeconomic contexts. So the guiding question is, how can integrated educational foundations support equitable and sustainable education? So this slide, we have conceptual framework. So our study is based on two major educational theories. First, we use Brunner ecological system theory, which explain that learning is influenced by multiple environments, such as a family, school, and community. Students do not learn in isolation. They are affected by the system around them. The second theory is Vygotsky's sociocultural. This theory emphasizes that learning occurs through social interaction. Students develop knowledge through collaboration, communication, and engagement with their cultural environment. Together, these theories support the idea that educational success depends on both individual and environment factors. The next slide will be presented by my friends.
Okay, the next slide is research methodology. This study uses a mixed methods research design, which combines qualitative and quantitative approach. Data were collected through several methods, including a systematic literature review, classroom observation, educator interviews, and policy document analysis. After collecting the data, the researchers applied the thematic coding and cross-case comparison to identify common patterns and relationships across different educational settings. This approach provides a more comprehensive understanding of educational foundations. Next slide. Okay, next slide is educational foundations components. This study identifies four key components of educational foundation. The first is early childhood learning, which shapes cognitive and social development from a young age. The second is pedagogical frameworks or the teaching approach used in classrooms. The third is teacher competency because teachers play a central role in student learning. And the fourth is inclusive access, ensuring that all learners have equal educational opportunities regardless of their backgrounds. The study argues that these components must work together rather than independently. Slide. Next slide is foundational education is more than literacy. So traditionally, Educational foundations have focused on reading, writing, and mathematics. While these skills remain important, they are no longer sufficient in today's world. Students also need critical thinking skills, problem solving abilities, socio emotional competencies, and cultural awareness. Therefore, a strong educational foundation should prepare learners not only academically but also socially and emotionally. Next slide. So next slide. The second finding highlights the importance of system alignment. Educational quality improve when curriculum design, teachers development, and community engagement are connected and support one another. For example, even an excelling curriculum may fail, teachers are not adequately trained to implement it. Similarly, strong classroom instruction can be strengthened when parents and communities actively support learning. This finding suggests that isolated reform often have a limited impact compared to coordinated efforts. Next slide.
Okay. For the next slide, we have educational equity. So the third finding focuses on educational equality is a holistic foundation. A centered approach can help reduce learning gaps among students from different socioeconomic and backgrounds. By strengthening early learning, improving teaching quality, and ensuring inclusive access, a school can better support disadvantaged learners. As a result, students have greater opportunities to achieve positive long-term educational outcomes. And then the next slide, we have implications. So this study has several important implications. For the example is for policy markers. It emphasized that the need to invest in foundational learning and integrate educational reforms. Then for teacher education programs, it highlights the importance of developing not only instructional skill but also socio-emotional and culturally responsive teaching practice. And for international development organizations, the findings support efforts to achieve equitable and quality education worldwide. And the next slide, we have the conclusion. In conclusion, this study argues that educational foundations should be viewed as an interconnected system rather than separate components. Sustainable educational quality depends on the element of curriculum and then teacher development and community involvement. Furthermore, foundational education should include academic, social, and then emotional, and also cultural dimensions. By adopting a holistic approach, education system can better promote equity, lifelong learning, and positive outcomes for all learners. Next slide. Okay, this is the reference by Bron Verburn, and then Vygotsky, UNESCO reports, and additional educational research resource. And that's all from our group. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.